So, what's it like to bike in Colorado Springs, Colorado? This is, I believe, the fourth Colorado city I've looked at. I've looked at Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Canyon City, and now Colorado Springs. Colorado has got a ton of options when it comes to biking, mountain biking, bike packing, and they're pretty savvy with their bike infrastructure as well. To note, I do not live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I've only visited, but I haven't done much biking there. So, what I'm doing today is using the online resources that we all have at our disposal to try to get a picture of what it's like to bike there. With that being said, I want to get like as much qualitative information and local information about it as possible, in which case, if you live there, I would love to potentially interview you, bring you on the show. We can look at maps together and just help the community learn to bike better. Who knows? You might convince some people to move to Colorado Springs based on your experience there. So, with that being said, let's dive right in and take a look at the Strava Heat Map to see where people are riding at the moment. So I see like kind of some like this looks like maybe a trail here, like a more of an urban trail to commute, trail going out here, and also some action here. The more white the line, that means the more cyclists are on it. So like you can see there's a lot of action right here. Some mountain biking, a lot of, ooh, that's cool. So if I go like major circular fast with this thing, it like makes it bigger. That's so cool. Um, mountain biking, mountain biking. You got riding options, it looks like. Let's try. Look at this little spot right here. There's so much. This must be like a velodrome or something like that, or like a pump track because there's just so much action. It's kind of crazy. Um, the winter map. What does that even mean? All right. So as far as the walkscore.com bike score it's been given is 85. It means they consider it to be very bikeable and very walkable. As far as dedicated bike pass, okay, so it's doing pretty well with dedicated bike pass. You got this one running 4 mile Shooks Run Trail straight up, and then it goes east. The Rock Island Trail, 14.8 miles. You've got a lot of options. You've got this 9 mile trail, Sand Creek Trail, Foothills Trail. Sweet. This takes you to the Red Rock Canyon open space. Let's take a look at like what is going on here, just so you can see some of the beauty in Colorado Springs. I mean, yeah, cool. Beautiful. I've been to Garden of the Gods there, and just check this out. I wonder if you can bike there. Let's see if there's a trail that takes you to Garden of the Gods. Yep. So there's this trail. If you're biking from like town near Colorado College, you could take the Mesa Valley Trail, I guess it is, or potentially this Foothills Trail takes you to Garden of the Gods. And this is Garden of the Gods. Okay. Just look at these rock formations. Looking at Pikes Peak, legendary Pikes Peak. These pictures don't do it justice because they just kind of arise from the ground. And that's why it's called Garden of the Gods. They look like godlike structures. Like they have their own presence. Like they exist on their own and they're breathing animal. Like it's the coolest rocks I've ever seen. As far as mountain biking in Colorado, check it out. So you've got some near Garden of the Gods. You've got this this is Red Rock Canyon. This looks like, and then you've got this trail system. Oh, holy cow. I mean, you're absolutely surrounded. I want to encourage you to check out the Boulder video, Canyon City video, Denver video, and Fort Collins video. So far from what I've seen, it looks like Colorado Springs has the most within biking distance in the most options in different trail areas in biking distance of the city itself. So for instance, let's see how far Red Rock open space is from downtown. Colorado Springs, Colorado. About 3.8 miles, which is 25 minutes to bike there. And you can take rail trail to get there, which is sick. Let's find where the rail trail is. I think this is the most important thing when it comes to biking is, you take this. And there you go, Red Rock Canyon open space. And then let's see how far it is to Palmer Park. And and from Colorado Springs. And your distance, 5.7 miles. So your distance to these trails is going to be based on where you live there or where you're spending time. And it's important to consider how you want to spend your time. Um, as far as like biking in town to, get groceries and things of that nature, obviously, if you're near this trail right here, you're going to have the Shooks Run Trail. I feel like this is kind of probably the most prevalent trails, at least what's going to get you where you need to go from downtown to like, to your home or to get groceries, take your kids to school, things of that nature. Trails and Open Space Coalition. Interesting. So interesting. Yeah, Colorado Springs is just absolutely stacked. I feel like I was talking about something that I forgot about, though. You got Big Bear Creek Regional East with some trails here. Let's see how far it is from CO Springs. 3 miles. I mean, come on. You've got so much action. And it's like pretty well balanced from what I see. So what's also cool is like, look at all these loops you can create and these massive rides you can create around Pikes Peak, staring up at the absolute edifice of Pikes Peak. So yeah, really sweet. I like what I'm seeing here. As far as bike packing, there's nothing that this is bikepacking.com. You can see from all these trails, there are trails everywhere, right? You've got options. But as far as what's already built out, we've got bikepacking.com route. This is the Colorado Trail, famous. It goes by Colorado Springs. You're definitely going to be able to access it pretty easily. And it's closer to Littleton, though. So we've got, and Canyon City right down here, too. You could definitely, I've done a video on Canyon City. You might want to take a look there. But yeah, you're going to have no shortage of bike packing options there. Let's zoom out a little bit and you can see kind of the wealth of bike packing routes that are already planned out. Colorado has, and going down into New Mexico as well. You got options. All right, bike touring. So this is adventure cycling, but generally more on-road. Again, nothing going directly through Colorado Springs, but there is the Transamerica Trail, which goes through Canyon City and then up north through Breckenridge, Alma. So you got some trails there. Most of these trails run up along the Rockies because those views there are just so beautiful. It's just so epic. And gravel riding, you got some options here, some loops. Yeah. As far as I'm not seeing, again, these are user submitted, so you never know like what's actually there compared to what's on this site. But Boulder's a little more stacked already. Fort Collins, maybe they just haven't done some documenting yet, but what's interesting about Fort Collins, all these roads here are like gridded. If you notice, I'm not sure if it's like that down in, no, it's pretty much like that everywhere. Colorado, like the eastern part, once you go east of the mountains, it's pretty gridded compared to, although Colorado Springs, like it's kind of cool to see. It's a bit more nuanced and curvy, which I think creates a lot of charm. And then obviously once you get in the mountains, you're going with the flow of nature there. All right, as far as bike shops in Colorado Springs, no shortage there. You've got 10, 12, 15 Gnarly Bees bikes, Helios Bicycle Service, the Base Camp Bike Shop. I wish there was some more up here close to like where the trails actually are. As far as weather, so in July, you're getting up to 85 with lows of 58. In January is going to be your coldest month with lows of 17. And yeah, so it looks like the comfort months really are like May to September or October. Still going to get quite chilly. Like Colorado is kind of a deserty climate. It's very dry. And what I've noticed there is it can get very hot in the day and then a lot cooler at night. Whereas like more East Coast, New England, Florida, like anywhere you're going to have more moisture and rainfall, generally is going to be more of a temperate, like consistent climate at least. That can be either good or bad based on if it's really cold or really hot. And yeah, so that's kind of Colorado Springs in a nutshell. Honestly, from everything I've seen, it seems very well balanced. When you compare it to other places in Colorado, you've got so many standout options in Colorado for biking, whether you're trying to live your daily life on your bike or you're trying to go bike touring and mountain biking on the weekends, whatever it may be. Colorado Springs, Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, great options. From what I see though, Boulder and Colorado Springs, as well as Canyon City, are going to be like most embedded in the trails there. And you're going to be, whereas in Denver and Fort Collins, it's a bit more of a hike to get to the trails. Again, this all depends on where you position yourself in these cities and things of that nature. But again, I just want to encourage you to use these resources I've used throughout the video to kind of plan what you need to do in each city. And like I said, if you live in Colorado Springs and want to come on the show and teach us all about it, please reach out. I've got a survey in the description below. Would love to speak to you. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.